Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1774B, and today's date is January 24th, 2019, and the title of the episode is Emotions Cloud Judgment and Logic. Senate Supreme Court meant everything. Stay the course. Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk about getting prepared and being self-reliant. We've seen what the deep state is capable of. We've seen what the central bankers are capable of. And my main theme has always been to prepare for any situation. Prepare with gold, silver, food, water, medical supplies. One of the best places I found to purchase survival supplies and emergency preparedness gear and food is My Patriot Supply. My Patriot Supply was founded by people with a passion for self-sufficiency and food independence. They understand the drive to practice emergency preparedness. Why? Because My Patriot Supply are active participants in the survivalist lifestyle. My Patriot Supply offers a vast array of survival items, water filtration systems, emergency survival food, long-term and short-term, heirloom seeds, air purification, survival essentials, cooking gear, power, lighting. So if you haven't started to prepare, this is a great place to jumpstart it all. If you have been preparing, this will be a great addition to your supplies. Go to mypatriotsupply.com today and get prepared for any situation, because true freedom comes from attaining a certain level of self-reliance. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, it looks like the mainstream media, they are getting hit hard now. And we know that Trump continually tweets out that fake news is the enemy of the people. Now, he doesn't say the mainstream media is the enemy of the people. He says fake news is the enemy of the people. He's very specific on what he's saying here. And there are certain stories that are out there that are completely fake. And this is what he's saying. Now, what's very interesting is that the mainstream media is taking it as if they're the enemy of the people. Well, if you're pushing fake news, then I guess you are. Because anything that's fake coming out where they're telling lies and they're trying to push it as the truth, that is the enemy of the people. Now, what's very interesting is that BuzzFeed, Verizon Media Group, which is Yahoo News and Huffington Post, Gannett, they're laying off people. Actually, BuzzFeed is going to be laying off about 15% of their staff, which is around 200 people. We see the Verizon Media Group, which owns outlets as Yahoo News, Huffington Post, they're letting go about 800 people. Gannett, which owns USA Today and many other newspapers, they're also going to be letting people go. NBC, we know, invested in BuzzFeed, and they invested about $400 million in BuzzFeed. So they have a vested interest in BuzzFeed, and it looks like their revenue is dropping, and they need to take action and remove certain people. What does this mean? This means that people are starting to wake up. They're starting to realize, maybe I shouldn't be reading their articles, listening to them, because part of what they're pushing is fake news. Now, it looks like Representative Dan Crenshaw is up to it again. Yesterday, we talked about how he said, listen, this is news, but no one's reporting on it. You know, the Dems, they did not vote to get the people paid, and the Republicans did. Now, I'm not saying all Republicans are good and all Dems are bad. There's a mixture in all of these groups, and what we're trying to get rid of are those individuals that are part of the deep state, the neocons, and everyone else. We're trying to clean house here. But he did tweet out something very interesting. And he said, these are the media blunders this week. Hardly any coverage of March for Life. BuzzFeed lies about Cohen case. Slandering Covington Catholic students over false narrative. Slandering Karen Pence for working at Christian school. 3 out of 4 are fundamentally anti-Christian just in the last 7 days. Think about this for a second. Why are they doing this? It all goes back to RBG. It all goes back to who Trump is going to choose as the next SCOTUS. Because as Q continually says, RBG is next. Now, yesterday we talked about Cohen, talked about his connections to Ukraine, his father-in-law, and his relationship to Manafort, Podesta, Clinton, and their connection to Ukraine. And what's very interesting is Trump tweets out the following about Michael Cohen. So interesting that bad lawyer Michael Cohen, who sadly will not be testifying before Congress, is using the lawyer of crooked Hillary Clinton to represent him. Now, we know why he's using Clinton's lawyer, because they were all involved in this Ukraine deal. And he is friendly with the Clintons. This is why Trump says, watch the father-in-law. Ukrainian. This all goes back to everything that Manafort, Podesta, the Clintons were doing there with Pinchuk. Let me continue with Trump's tweet here. Gee, how did that happen? Remember July 4th weekend when Crooked went before FBI and wasn't sworn in? No tape, nothing. Again, dropping the breadcrumbs and letting everyone know what Clinton has done. Now, Cohen, he has agreed to testify, and he was issued a subpoena, and now it looks like he's going to be testifying in a closed-door meeting on February 12th. And I wonder if there's going to be any leaks coming out of this closed-door meeting. I bet there will be. Now, Trump is going to delay the State of the Union until after the shutdown. He tweeted out the following. As the shutdown was going on, Nancy Pelosi asked me to give the State of the Union address. I agreed. She then changed her mind because of the shutdown, suggesting a later date. This is her prerogative. I will do the address when the shutdown is over. I am not looking for an alternative venue for the State of the Union address because there is no venue that can compete with the history, tradition, and importance of the House chamber. I look forward to giving a great State of the Union address in the near future. Now, in the beginning, Trump was pushing to do the State of the Union. Pelosi was pushing back. Trump is now waiting till after the shutdown. So what happened in between all of this? Remember Donna Brazile? Remember, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker today, shortly after President or Martin Luther King, who was assassinated, then showed Lincoln and Hamilton. Hamilton was killed. Lincoln was assassinated. Clinton was out there showing the Lincoln Memorial, showing that Lincoln was assassinated. And it looked like there was a push to off Trump. And we know they are panicking right now because they know what he holds. He holds the Trump card. So if Trump went ahead, which he could do, like he said, he could pick a different venue. But I don't know if it would have been secure enough. And I think they must have heard chatter, got information, and said, something? We should wait until after the shutdown. Now, some people might see this as, oh, he's waiting for after the shutdown. Pelosi won. Well, let's think of it this way. Once Trump gets the wall, once Trump is allowed to give good news, once Trump shows the downsizing of government and puts out all this good news after the shutdown, what is Pelosi going to do? Actually, it benefits Trump and the Patriots. Now, Nancy Pelosi, and we need to remember what Q has been telling us, which we're going to go into Q's posts in just a minute. But Nancy Pelosi was giving a speech to American mayors on Wednesday. And she had to tell them to clap for her. Now, she said, that's an applause line. I'll let you know when to applause, which means that they're not really applauding her. They really don't agree with her. Take a listen to what she said.
Thank you, Tom Cochran. That's an applause line. I'll let you know. With strong...
Now, as you can see, it looks like Nancy Pelosi is forcing them to applaud, and she's telling them when exactly to do it. And she also seems a little strange, like she's losing her mind. And you've seen this before, where she starts talking about something, and it's really not about the subject she's talking about. This brings me back to post number 5. This is October 29, 2017, where Q said, follow the money, it's the key. What is Pelosi's net worth by way of one example? Why, coincidentally, is her memory apparently going? Cover for possible future indictment to plead what? So Pelosi's net worth is $140 million. What is she trying to cover? Why is she pretending that she's losing her mind. Well, if she does this, she's going to say she's unfit for trial and incompetent to stand trial. Now, Nancy Pelosi was out on the street, and this individual, I don't know who it is, came up to Nancy Pelosi and said the following. Take a listen.
Nancy.
Hi.
Prison time's coming soon. Be ready. Donald Trump. Not much time left. Bad news.
Now, this individual let her know that it's only a matter of time and prison is waiting for her. And did you see her face? She was just like shocked, turned away, and walked away. So this is very interesting. But let's look at what is happening here. A lot of people, CNN, MSNBC, all the mainstream media, they believe that Nancy Pelosi has the upper hand. They believe that she has the power because she told Trump to wait till after the shutdown. Actually, Trump holds all the cards. Trump and the Patriots hold everything. Do you think after the shutdown, when Trump gets the wall, builds the wall, and puts out all the good news of how the economy's doing, how the country's doing, do you think his audience is going to grow? Yes. Who will be in power then? Remember, Trump is using the wall as bait, and this is coming out of Rex. Trump is forcing the Democrats to construct walls within their own party. Trump's strategy is to exploit the enemy's poor leaders to foment division, perhaps even a civil war within the Democratic camp, and they don't even know it. On December 11, 2018, Trump launched a surprise attack on Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and this happened in the Oval Office. Remember, he invited cameras in? The issue in contention was the urgent need to build the wall as a matter of national security, and he did this in front of national media. Trump exposed the two Democrat leaders as obstructive and inflexible, as well as himself as constructive and flexible. Trump threatened to shut down the government if the Democratic leaders didn't strike a deal with him. December 27, 2018. After 2 weeks of predictable, fruitless negotiations with the Democratic leadership, Trump shut down the government. January 20th, 2019, Trump tweeted the following. Nancy Pelosi has behaved so irrationally and has gone so far to the left that she has now officially become a radical Democrat. She is so petrified of the lefties in her party that she has lost control. And by the way, clean up the streets in San Francisco. They are disgusting. Last, on January 23, 2019, Trump tweeted that the U.S. no longer recognized Venezuela strongman Maduro as a legitimate president, which we'll be getting into in just a minute. None of these events are random, nor are they disconnected. In fact, they're all pre-planned. What's the link between them? Well, they're part of an ongoing strategy designed by Trump and team and his inner circle, aimed at splintering the Democratic Party within and toxifying them without in front of the public. If you noticed, a lot of the Democratic leadership, they're going against Pelosi right now. Think about it. The wall divides Democrats. The shutdown divides Democrats. Venezuela divides Democrats. The State of the Union divides Democrats. Covington divides Democrats. Nancy Pelosi is a dream come true for Trump. Remember when Nancy Pelosi was trying to get as Speaker of the House, and Trump said, oh yes, Nancy Pelosi would make a great Speaker of the House. The reason why he said that is because he wanted her in there. It was on purpose. It was all part of the plan. And we need to remember, Pelosi nominated herself unopposed as Speaker in November 2018. She didn't even win the minimum Democratic Party votes required, 218. In fact, 32 opposed her. This places Pelosi in a difficult situation now, and Trump knows this full well. What's Trump's strategy? Trump has been splintering them by forcing factions within the Democratic Party to migrate to different and opposing positions. The wall, for example, had been chosen carefully as they split factions within the Democrats. Trump will introduce new wedge issues into the public sphere and will turn the screws even harder, turning factions against faction. This will force Pelosi into extreme and potentially conflicting positions. Trump is holding the ultimate card over all of them, which is full declassification in unredacted form of their role in Spygate, the worst scandal in American history. Second to the treasonous acts of selling uranium-1, selling secrets to the Chinese, erasing your server. You know who I'm talking about. However, these moderates who understand how devastating the Spygate reveal would be for the Democrats are likely advising extreme caution about investigating Trump as threatened. Now, Abraham Lincoln famously observed, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." And as the famous saying goes, never get in the way of an enemy in the process of destroying itself. Trump knows that Pelosi is the party's weak link, and by exploiting her weakness, is masterfully splintering and toxifying the Democratic Party. This will continue in intensity and complexity all the way to November 2020. And the best part, they don't even know it. And this has been the plan to separate the party and show the deep state, expose them for who they are. Now, the two bills that were in the Senate, they both failed, and the government is not reopening right now. But just like Representative Crenshaw, Lee Zeldin tweeted out the following, missing from the news, January 17th. 6 Dems joined all House GOP reps to pay Fed workers. Bill failed, 195 to 222. January 23rd. 10 Dems joined all GOP to pay Fed workers. Failed, 200 to 215. January 24th. 13 Dems joined all GOP to pay Fed workers. Failed, 200 to 214. Release the hostages, negotiate, and compromise. So you can see this is not about those people that aren't getting paid. This is about trying to look strong against Trump. But really what's happening is the opposite. Now, Facebook, it looks like they are having a very tough time. There's a new report that was published by Plainsight, an independent research shop, and analysts calculated that Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg has been regularly lying to investors and the public about the company's user metrics, and that the company could be overestimating the number of users by as much as 50%. The team detailed their findings in a 70-page report published on their website, where they're saying that most of the people on Facebook are fake accounts, which I do believe. There's a lot of bots out there, and there's a lot going on. Now, very interestingly, we're seeing something happen in Venezuela. Venezuelan opposition leader Juan Guaido, he declared himself interim president while surrounded by thousands of supporters. Now, there was no election or anything like that. He just came out and said, "I am now the interim president." Now, Trump, minutes later, tweeted out the following: "The citizens of Venezuela have suffered for too long at the hands of the illegitimate Maduro regime. Today, I have officially recognized the president of Venezuela, National Assembly Juan Guaido, as the interim president of Venezuela." And you can see that Mike Pompeo was out there. He also tweeted, "The United States recognizes Juan Guaido's courageous decision to assume the role of interim president per Venezuela's Constitution, Article 233. We support their efforts to establish a transitional government and prepare for free and fair elections." Now, there are people that are on the streets, thousands upon thousands of people who are out there saying, "Yes, we want you." But again, this individual was not elected. But we see there's support from Canada, Brazil, Paraguay, Colombia, Argentina, Peru, Ecuador, Costa Rica, Chile, Guatemala, and they're all out there supporting this. Now, what's very interesting about all of this is that the deep state, for many, many, many years, have been trying to remove Maduro. And all of a sudden, we see this individual pop up and Trump recognizes him. Now, again, going back in time, they wanted to use military force in Venezuela. And I do believe everything that we're seeing is not exactly what we are seeing. Think back to Syria when Trump decided to launch missiles into Syria, and everyone thought, okay, here we go again. Trump is continuing the war in Syria. He's bombing. Assad is going to be removed, and that's that. Actually, we saw the opposite happening. The question is, why is Trump doing this at this time? Well, first of all, the neocons and certain individuals, they wanted to go into Venezuela for a very long time. They wanted to use military force and have regime change. Trump uses a different tactic, and he allows the people of the country to do the work without having individuals in the country, like the CIA, have these nasty revolutions where they fire amongst the people get angry, and all of a sudden you have this terrible, like little revolution happening, just like in Ukraine. That was pre-planned, and they spent billions of dollars, and they killed people to have regime change. If you notice, people thought that Trump was going to go into Iran and use military force. It didn't happen. Same thing in Venezuela. I think what is happening right now, they might have gotten word that the deep state, they were going to try to do something in Venezuela. Remember, the deep state is still trying to push their agenda, and they won't give up. Just like they used that bombing in Syria to try to keep the troops in Syria, which it didn't work. I think they were going to shift everything to Venezuela right now, and they were going to try to use some type of an event. And I think what Trump did right now is he cut them off, because he went out and he recognized a different individual, and the people now are rallying with this individual, which stopped whatever the deep state was trying to do. And we can see at this point in time, we'll have to see how this actually goes, because we do have Russia out there, China out there, and they have a lot invested in Venezuela. And they're saying that this is not the elected leader. Actually, what should happen is we should have maybe a snap election, and maybe we should see who the leader would be in this country. Now, we can see the support for the opposition leader is very, very large. And it might be that this individual becomes the new leader. Now, is this the individual that the deep state wanted? Most likely not. But you can see that something else is occurring in this area, because we know that the deep state, they've been planning for a very long time to use some type of military strike or some type of an event in Venezuela, just like they did in Libya, Lebanon, Syria, Ukraine. It looks like they were trying to move and push an agenda in this area, almost like North Korea. But Trump stopped them. Again, if we go back to that point in time, everyone thought we were going to war. But behind the scenes, what was happening? Peace. Now, Trump tweeted out that the fake news media loves saying, "So little happened at my first summit with Kim Jong-un." Wrong. After 40 years of doing nothing with North Korea, but being taken to the cleaners, and with a major war ready to start, in a short 15 months, relationships built, hostages, and remains back home where they belong. No more rockets or M's being fired over Japan or anywhere else. And most importantly, no nuclear testing. This is more than has ever been accomplished with North Korea, and the fake news knows it. I expect another good meeting soon. Much potential. Now, Kim Jong-un, he said the following, that he intends to trust President Trump's plan. It's very interesting that he's going to trust the plan. Kim said he received a great letter from Trump and intends to trust his approach in good faith for the next round of talks. So we can see at this point that North Korea is trusting the plan. We all need to trust the plan, even though you don't see things happening, even though you don't really know the plan, because we don't know all of it, and we'll get into that in just a minute. We still need to trust because there are certain things that are happening behind the scenes. Now, Putin came out and said that the U.S. withdrawal from Syria is going to help stabilize the northeast part of Syria. And this is a positive change because we won't have the deep state in there with their paid mercenaries pushing their agenda. And we see that Erdogan and Putin, well, they're establishing dialogue and they're talking about what they're going to do in this area. Putin also said that Russia supports Damascus' efforts to establish dialogue with Kurdish representatives amid the American pullout, which means that the Kurds most likely will be integrated with the Syrian government, and Syria will fly the flag in this area. And as we can see, the plan is moving forward, and the plan is very, very complex. I just want to go back to post 2604, and I'm going to start at this point. Q says, "Why would we tell you the plan if in doing so also alerts those who we are actively engaged in hunting? You are witnessing firsthand the demise of those in power," and Q put it in brackets, bold, all caps, old guard. So the demise of those in power, old guard. Those who push simply have no grasp of reality. Those who push simply do not understand warfare tactics. Emotions cloud judgment. Emotions cloud logic. You have more than you know. Securing the Senate meant everything. Securing the Supreme Court meant everything. Avoided Z, chaos. A revolution. A coup. We the people, enough is enough. Together we win. Do you think all of these attacks on Q, we the people, is simply for a person on the internet who they label as a conspiracy? Think for yourself, trust yourself, research for yourself, be in control of yourself. Never let someone else drive you. Those who try to drive you are not your friend. Q has always been telling us to trust the plan. Stop with your emotions. As you can see, everything is still not in place. They want another Supreme Court justice. They're waiting for RBG to retire or for the deep state to say that she passed away. And we know if she did, they're waiting for a special moment to use it. And they know what Trump is going to do. We know that Trump, the Patriots, they want to lock in the Supreme Court. They're also bringing the American people up to speed. This is why Trump is continually dropping breadcrumbs. Trump also needs division in the House with the Democrats. Trump also needs to stop the deep state throughout the Middle East, in Venezuela, and North Korea. He has done this partly. We see the troops now are being withdrawn from Syria. We see North Korea, well, it looks like they have full control. Venezuela is now on the map. They still have Iran. They need time to put everything into place. Like Q has been telling us, this is warfare tactics. This is not something where you just say, okay, let's just arrest these people. If we want a country and we want our country back, we just can't arrest 3 or 4 people. That doesn't stop it. We need the entire plan. The central bank, the deep state, the treasonous criminals. We need to get the intelligence organizations under control. We need to get the deep state out of certain countries and expose them. We need to clean house in the government. Yes, a lot has been done. Trump, Q, the Patriots, they've made unbelievable progress in the short period of time. Why do you think Trump has been holding the declassification? It's leverage. Because once it's out there, what about the rest of the plan? Yes, this will get those individuals who are spying on him, but what about everything else? You don't want them to go into hiding. You don't want them to cover up. You want them to feel like they're powerful, they're in control. You want them to feel like they have strength, so they let their guard down. This is how you catch these people, because they think they're omnipotent. They think they're gods. They think nothing can touch them. Listen to the way they tweet, the way they speak. They think they're above everyone. How do you bring them down? You let them feel confident. You let them feel secure. You let them do what they do best. And that's what the Patriots are doing. And before they know it, before they even realize what is happening, the hammer comes down on all of them. And they don't even know how it happened. They thought they were always in control. But they never were. They were being pushed this way, then this way, down a certain path. This is all being done on purpose. It is part of the plan. Do we know all of it? No. But we can see parts of it popping up here and there. And then we take those parts and we put them together. That's what we're watching. So forget about your emotions. Forget about, oh, I want this to happen. Every time you hear news, every time you see something, think logically. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.